welcome to Uncut Coffee. My name is Wolf. Today is the first episode of my Uncut Coffee series. This is going to be a series I use to show off the entire coffee making process using various coffee making methods from start to finish with, as you can tell by the title, no cuts. Today I'm going to start with my favorite method, the pour-over method of making coffee. With this series, it's going to be naturally prone to errors, as there are no cuts after all. Cannot fix any mistakes I make while talking or while making coffee. Though, even in my cut pieces of work that I traditionally would film for my shorts, I would still use the genuine results, including any mistakes I make. For minor things such as reshoots, those will no longer be present. In that way, I think the series is going to be much like why I love to pour over coffee. A lot of humanness is going to be added to it, due to it all being done in one shot. All the human errors that I make, as well as the things that I do well, will all be captured, such as the odd pauses that I may be having while I'm speaking, as I don't have a script for this either. So, not one for script writing much either when I'm making my short form content, so maybe it won't be too different after all. Since I am revisiting the pour over coffee for this video, I may as well also revisit the reasons behind why it is my favorite form of brewing coffee. It is, as I mentioned before, that human element. I'm involved in almost every stage of the process, start to finish. And what that means that at every point I'm adding a little bit of my unique touch to the coffee. When anyone else makes a pour over coffee, they'd be doing the same. That is really what I do value about this method of producing coffee. Now, although this will be an uncut series, that does not necessarily mean that it will be a unedited series. It's possible that I'll have to edit the audio levels a little bit for things like when I'm grinding, or possibly even speed up through some of the slower parts of the process. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my kettle now. Usually I wait a little bit longer, but I want to go ahead and get that water heated and ready to go for when the time does inevitably come to start pouring. Also go ahead and grab my glass. Usually that needs to go a couple times before it finishes all of it. That's something I don't usually show. I also like to use the opportunity to talk about things that I don't always have time for in the short form content. For example, I actually went to a new coffee shop this past week. Very excellent place. What I really loved about that one in particular was at this particular coffee shop, I could watch as they produced the coffee. They also primarily used the pour over method, which I appreciated. Most coffee shops do have some pour over coffee available usually, but many of them, it's not quite at the level that you would want. And talking about mistakes, sorry to go on a tangent, just kind of screwed up when pouring the water there, but still fine. Just go ahead and lift that up. Don't want to let it go to waste after all. It'll still work just fine. To get back to it, when I was at that coffee shop, the nice thing was that you could really see behind the bar and everything they were doing to produce your coffee, even if it was just a simple pour over. And they did, of course, have a lower priced alternative to pour over if you did just want to get some drip coffee, which I also do appreciate. Even if I don't drink drip coffee myself, I think it's a good option to be able to provide. I did end up choosing a newer a blend that I wouldn't usually, a newer roast that I wouldn't usually get. And although it wasn't my favorite, it was a little more acidic than I would traditionally like in my coffee, it was still very unique and I did appreciate it. I'll have to go back again and try one of their other roasts and see how it compares. Going to visit new coffee shops is definitely another hobby of mine in addition to making my own coffee. After all, what better way to learn is there than through experimentation directly with other people's brews? Learn from watching, learn from tasting what everyone else has to offer. Gotta go ahead and let my water heat up again here. We should be ready to go ahead and start pouring after that. Once again, I don't intend for this to be an instructional quality video, especially since although it is uncut, it is one single camera angle. I'm not truly talking through the process, although I am mentioning parts of it. It really is just a visual so that those of you interested can see what the process looks like start to finish when I'm making coffee. Though if someone does want to try to mimic it and does have success that way, that's wonderful too. At the end of the day, I'm just documenting my coffee making journey, and you viewers may do whatever you like with it. That the water is heated up, go ahead and start with our first pour here. Put on that 30-second timer. I'm going to go ahead and put this back down, make sure it maintains its temperature. Though for 30 seconds I'm not too concerned. This is, again, something that a lot of people can easily forget to do, is letting the coffee sit after that first initial pour. It's very easy to forget to do so. Does let some of that, I believe it's the carbon dioxide that's trapped in the grounds, come up without getting all mixed into your drink, making it less bitter, I believe. And just though I blanked, actually let this sit a little too long, if anything. I'm going to go ahead and start again with a very light pour. A little bit of that, I don't know if it's the right term, but that bloom of that almost foamy coffee that kind of bubbles up on top of the ground as you pour. I always like seeing that. Always like smelling that. It's one of my favorite parts of watching when I'm making my own pour over. Oops. Right. May have been a little overzealous there and poured a little too much all at once, but I think it'll work out in the end. Gonna let that sit for a couple minutes. Should be good. Usually there'd be a break there and I would have poured more water in afterwards, but as I said, I was a little overzealous there. Suppose I won't need to needlessly drag on this video is one way to look at it. Actually kind of like to let the coffee come out here bottom while I have it held above. Nothing really fancy, but I like the visual myself. Even if I do get a little coffee coffee splashing out here and there. And this one of the most important things about making coffee is actually using good water. So when I use water, I actually filter it first before I even boil it. I'm not sure if that actually makes a huge difference for the water that I would get from the tap normally, but that is what I am utilizing. Within that, I also don't rinse or wash my coffee equipment with that same water from the tap. I actually go ahead and now give it a rinse using my kettle. It is important, of course, to give your coffee a stir, as it does extract in waves. Not all flavors come out equally all at the same time. I'm going to go ahead and get big for not what I would usually use for. I can use it for what I want. It's my wooden stick. Go ahead and give it a quick stir there. It's going to get that same treatment even if it... So it was a little overzealous with that first pour. Probably means that it's a little hotter than I would like it. Not to mention I usually don't drink my coffee at full temperature anyway, so I might give that a minute to pour, but I can take in that smell already. I'm looking forward to this cup. Go ahead and put it nice and close to the camera. I'm really sure what the perfect angle is here, but I'm hoping that's about right. Maybe something a little more over here. Go ahead and have a taste of them. This cup is nearly overflowing, so just a little bit at a time is good for now. That is a very nice cup. This is actually made using a blend that I got from a family friend. New blend for me, and actually like it quite a lot. Got a nice robust flavor, almost rustic in feel. It is a dark roast, you can tell. I like that. Not too much acidity. And actually, a lot of natural sweetness is coming through, though it's very refined and subtle. You can tell it's there. It's a very good cup of coffee overall. Definitely gets my thumbs up. Thank you for joining me on Uncut Coffee. Have a great day.